Good evening, everyone. Just let me get my act together. I'm a little bit discombobulated today because I'm going away on a Christmas market cruise and I have to leave the house and go to a friend's this evening so that we can set off at an ungodly hour tomorrow morning. So let's just see where we're up to. I'll wait and I'll swap the screen over, hopefully when a few more people come in to my normal format. There we are. Excellent. We've picked up that, so that's always helpful. Let's see if we can share that. Yeah, it is. Right. And I can hear that the sound is okay because it's just flicked off on my phone. So let's turn that off. Let's stop the binging on the computer by getting rid of that. And we'll leave that for them. No, we will get rid of that. Cool. And then we can swap to that. So hi Jan, hi Julia, hello Blanche. So we are. Let's swap that screen around. Okay. So last week I did a painted mountain background, and this week we're going to add some pieces to that. And I have quite a lot pre-set out because of my travelling this evening, but it's not going to alter the overall quality of what I'm intending doing today. So we're going to build our mountain scene from our creamy acrylic painted background from last week, and then add lots of snowy effects because I think that's fine for the time of year. Thank you so much, Jan. So let us start. So I have the creamy acrylics and I've got them in green and pine green. So let's just put some of those out on there. Look at the state of my hands already. It's always a joy. It's always a joy. And it's freezing in my craft room. So these have been cast with the rapid resin, as I showed last week. So if you find last week's video, that will show you how I'd use that. And I'm just using the two colours on here because trees aren't exactly all a single colour. And we're going to mix it up a little bit. So again, it's my usual style of rather imprecise painting at this stage. But that's fine because that's what works for me and for my projects. Let's try not to get, well, I've already got my hands dirty, so there we are. That's just life. Maybe I should think about crafting with some gloves on. You know, why not? Why not? Why not? It's a bit slow off the mark today with not very many people watching, but hey ho. Hopefully a few more people will come in. As I say, I'm not intending spending hours on that. Thank you, Sarah. Good evening, Sheila. Welcome, welcome. It's always a little bit difficult, isn't it? The live schedule, certainly for the UK crafters, has become just ever so slightly a bit frenetic, really. There we are. And I know trunks of trees are brown, but hey ho, we're just going to do that for the moment. Let's just whack that into there, give my hands a little wipe, and then we're going to pick up some more of the creamy acrylics. Thank you, my darling, it's so much appreciated. That looks like that may not be updating the numbers. Watching, there we are. So what have we got here? We have the set of 10 creamy acrylics, and I need, that's the white, I don't need the white, I need some black because I have a little light here. We're going to whack the black all over it and then we'll add some white back in later on. So this is cast from a very old mould from Stamperia. It doesn't really matter which one you choose, but in any nice lamp mould will work. I need a bit more of that, so that's cool. That's cool, that's cool. And that'll be about 25 tons too much now, but hey ho, you can't have everything in this world. And we're going to just keep things, you know, because lampposts are black, aren't they, or a dark grey, but black is going to work for me for this evening. There we are. And so I'm definitely feeling all a bit discombobulated, so that can go over there. And then we have the houses. I've got more in the finished piece, so but again, from a point of view of the speed, I have because of the whatever else I have to do this evening, I have taken the liberty of pre-preparing pieces, but I've done them in essentially the same processes that I'm showing this evening, so that we can go from there. So I have let's pop that up there. This is the creamy white acrylic, so let's just pop some of that onto there. And these are from, this one is from the silicone mold, and this house is from the plastic mold. Okay, so and it comes as a set of 3. Let's pick a different brush, because that's all looking a bit not very nice. Well, that one might be needed. We might need to use one of the bigger ones. There we are, and there's a smaller one. So let's just choose some of these. Excuse me. So I'm just going to pick a plainy background, and we're just going to pop some creamy acrylic in that just off-white colour over the central part of this. And we'll give these all a bit of a blitz dry, and then we can add some more detail back in and add some different colours in the stages that we're going. As I say, my intention is to convert my my mountain scene into a winter mountain village. There we are, because that's the look I'm going for, really. There we are. So let's just pop this. So this is cast with the ivory rapid resin, and then added the Umbra resin tint to it, and then I've primed it with bonding primer, although you can paint directly over it. And we're definitely going for speed crafting today, so I'm sorry about that, but yeah, it's my bad. I agreed to split the project, having shared the mountain scene, and hadn't quite thought through, because I hadn't twigged, because I'm a bit daft like that my flights tomorrow morning are at 6:40 in the morning, which requires me to be at the airport at 4 o'clock. So I'm travelling to my partner for the trip's house tonight, and then we'll so we can go off to the airport together in a taxi at the ungodly hour of 4 o'clock in the morning, which is going to mean being awake at an even more ungodly hour of 3 o'clock in the morning, or 3:30 in the morning. But you know, that's just life, isn't it? If you want to do these things and go gallivanting around the world, you have to do that. But I am so looking forward to the holiday. I haven't had one all year, and visiting lots of the beautiful European markets. So we're going from Prague to Paris, along the Main and the Moselle, stopping at all sorts of places along the way. So that will be rather cool. So let's just give that brush a drop. Good evening. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing, my lovely. It's a bit, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? But some nice warm projects would be quite cool. Right, where's my dryer? There's my dryer. We've got way too much of some of these other paints up. So let's just give this a really, really good blitz dry, and then we can add some more details on to the houses when I'm not risking spreading all of that creamy base around. Out. Good evening, Connie. Welcome, my darling. And yes, ouch, it is very, very early. And because I'm intending abandoning my craft desk literally as soon as I have finished the live today, I won't be posting the finished make pictures until probably the 9th of December, but I promise you I will post them. And I can see an area on there on that I've already missed. So let me just pick up the black brush, that's the black brush, and pick up where I have missed those edges. Let's just give that a little bit of a nicer finish. There we are. Because as much as I need to get a sugar on this evening, I do want a nice finished project at the end of the day. And so the intention is to convert, to have this as a nice winter mountain village. Not quite ready for skiers, but definitely with a snow feel to it. Yeah, so that's going to get that sorted. Yeah, should be lovely. We just need to let this dry properly. The problem with speed drying, of course, is that it surface dries, and that means that the underlying depth of the project, the paint is still tacky underneath, which then is an issue because it's too easy to lift it. Once it's properly dry from the base upwards, then you can do what you want with an acrylic paint because it's very solid and very robust. But I just need to get this base layer down onto here, because that will work. You can see that I've got paint in the nooks and the crevices. So let's just give this all a nice good dry. Good evening, Isabella. Thank you for joining us this evening. Hello, Barbara. Welcome, my darling. It's lovely that you're joining me this evening. I always appreciate everyone who joins because I know that time is a precious commodity that you cannot get back once you've used it once. And therefore, any time that you're prepared to spend with a creative doing things that are different is always much, much appreciated. Let's just pop a bit more on that, darken that down. That black is being unused. There we are. I didn't really want that one to be that coloured, but hey. Let's get rid of the black paint off there. Yeah, that will work. Don't want to mix all of that too much. There we are. Good. So let's just now mix a custom colour for the roof. So I'm taking hazelnut brown. I sort of want a terracotta, but not a terracotta, if that vaguely makes sense. And that is too brown. And I'm going to add a little bit of red. And I don't want to chase that around the room. So let me just pick that up and relid it because we don't require that. Like that. So that's it. Good evening, Kay. Hello, Liz. Welcome, my darling. Thank you for joining. And we're going to add just a touch of the creamy acrylic brown. And as I say, those have all come from the multi-set, the new activity. So let's just add some of that, a little bit of the red. And then we're just going to custom colour this. That might work, but I know that for the pieces I've pre-coloured, I did that, and I've added a little bit of the brown just to add a little bit of depth. So I think I've got a reasonable terracotta-y browny colour there. And I need to be just a little bit more careful now. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to white brush over the tops of those anyway. So that's fine. So let's come down the sides of there. This might prove a little challenge because I don't travel very well and I'm definitely a bit uber shaky tonight, and that's because I stress about travel. So even though I'm going with a friend who's done lots of travelling, I'm not finding the whole process particularly in my comfort zone. There we are. we're going to be distressing some of these anyway. So there we are. Let's just pop that into there. There's lots of details on these house molds. So that's just, we might swap to a much finer, smaller brush. There we are. We'll lift that up in front of us. Let's just pick this up. There we are. Just gently, gently. I slow down. Stop worrying about what I can't change and just concentrate on this. We might be in for an easier process. Well, that's hopefully what my brain will feel if I just take my time with that. I need to do a little bit of that creamy acrylic in the creamy white in a minute and just have a little bit of a neaten up where I haven't quite got the edges. There we are. I'll pop that onto there. There we are. And let's just pop that into there, onto the bottom. And I'm going to have the door in that brown, because, well, that's just because that's my choice at the moment. We've kept this colour scheme fairly simple. There we are. And we'll add a layer over that. And we can add a layer over there. There we are. And let me just pick up a very fine dauber. Hello, Sarah. There we are. And we'll just add some of that undiluted hazelnut to there, into those, into those. So simple making tonight. There we are. Rustic old village is the feel that I'm going for, and we will distress it further. Oh, turn that round. Let's pick up the bigger brush, and we're going to be adding snow. After we've aged these, we are going to add some snow anyway, so it won't. Precise painting not required. It's amazing what a bit of snow paste, ice paste, snow crystal, you name it, will do for a project. There we are. So let's just get into there and paint our roof into that. There we are. And then when I can turn it round, I can safely do the doors, but let's just do these pieces to start with. So these molds have got lots of detail. You could spend a lot of time picking out each different piece of it, adding lots of different colours. It depends on the time you have and ultimately on the look that you want to achieve. There isn't necessarily a right and there isn't necessarily a wrong. In any of this, it is very much about personal taste and concepts and ideas. I just hope to inspire with some ideas whenever I am making. So there we are. So we've got some roofs that are painted in there, and we've got some detail. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that terracotta to that brick detail there and down the sides. There we are. I'm going to add that same brick detail for the door. There we are. And I can come back in and touch up the brown, the terracotta a bit, so that we've got two doors at the bottom of here. So let's just add that into here. The creamy acrylics are quite thick and they're lovely to paint with. It's a door, so I don't need to do the bottom of that. And I did paint that with the creamy white. So there we go. Can add that. And we've got another door. And you could pick out each of these doors in a different colour if that's what you wanted. I've kept them all very much the same for this project, but you do you, because that's the important thing, is that you enjoy what you've got and where you know, and it's your project to make. So there's a bit of roof detail there and an overhanging roof on this one here. So upper and bottom, lower levels. Let's just pop that into there. All the details are on the mould for you to then work with. There's another line tucked in there. So let's just add that in. Cool. And then let's just pick up that hazelnut, just slightly different colour. And then we can just tuck this on to here. As I say, we're going for rustic rather than anything else. Go as if the village has been there since ago and has aged, and been subject to the vagaries of the winds and the environment. Right, there we are. And just by adding these layers, it just brings in the extra detail, and we're going to add some distressing. So eeny, meeny, miny, that can go in there. Let's just clear some of this mess. So those are the steps that I've done for the pieces that I have pre-painted so far. So, oh, there we are. Let's just get rid of that. Pop that in the bin. Don't upset the layout because it's already set out, ready for me to put it in place. And I just want to add some white with a little hint of yellow. Hi Joan, welcome my darling into, there'll be plenty of that there. Let's just clean that mess. There we are. So I want a soft yellow, mix that in with the creamy acrylic. It doesn't take much. You can see I'll have way too much of that, but that's fine. Let's just roll the excess paint off and let's just paint into there that soft yellow. Little bit of the glow. There we are. Let's just pop that into there. If I leave it down, hopefully we're not going to have too big an issue. I'm rolling the paintbrush into that paint. I've got a bit shaky hands this evening, so I do apologise. As I say, I'm a bit all discombobulated because I've travelling and because I know what it does to my nerves, really. And if I used my brain, I probably should have said to Penta I wasn't doing a live tonight. But by the time I realised what time the flights were, my bad, I hadn't checked. Then there we are. And we can add a little bit. So add some gold onto there anyway, just to bring out some detail. So let me just give these all a bit more of a blast, because I try and distress these without. Oh, Sue, that's not great, is it? If you've got a whole huge pile of washing to do, it's never great. No doubt I will have an entire, like, great big suitcase full of 2 weeks of washing to do when I get back, with 2 changes of clothes per day, because I have a feeling that one's expected to dress for dinner on a cruise. Not my necessarily. Anyway, I did choose to go on the cruise, which and I did choose to do the Christmas markets because I love Christmas. There we are. Right, excellent. So let's just leave those to dry, and then we're going to add a bit of distressing to this. Now, in an ideal world, you'd let these dry and possibly varnish them before you add any of the antiquing gels. This is the olive, and it's just going to cover some of those imperfections and cover for some of those whiter areas. But as I say, if you really want to be secure, then let them dry really, really thoroughly. Don't be in a rush, as I am tonight on the live. Varnish your pieces, let that dry before you try wiping back. You'll have a you're less likely then to pull off stuff that you don't want to. Just going to have to be very, very gentle. But that has helped for me bring out lots of the details in that mould, which comes from the Stamperia Gear Up to Christmas. This one, these trees are an old Prima mould, but there are lots of different companies that do moulded pieces. So yeah, again, you do you, choose what you've got. These were just the the moulds that I had sitting around, and therefore the ones that I wanted to use. Let me move that out of the way because that is in the way. And let's just give these a bit more of a blast dry, and then I'm going to distress them. If you like them undistressed, then just use them as they are. You don't need to necessarily add lots more detail in. The choice is yours. That's the joy of working with a mould, is that it allows you to paint in any set of colours that you want and decorate with as much detail or as little detail as you really want to have in your piece. There we are. What did you have for tea, Joan? I hope it was lovely. So there we are. So let's just pop that there. Let's just grab, I've got some antique paste because these are a little bit too clean, and I'm just going to take some of that, pop this over here, and then I can wipe it back. But again, if you don't like the idea of using the distressed, the antiquing, then don't use it. Simple as. Don't try this with an ordinary, a normal wax, because you'll regret it, because you can't wipe back a normal wax so very easily. You'd have to get some clear wax and then dilute it with that and then wipe off the clear wax. So it is possible to do this even if you haven't got the antiquing waxes. There we are. Let's just wipe this down. It'll sit in the nooks and the crannies. It just is softening that colour, making it just that little bit less stark, and helping bring out some of the details and some of the areas where stuff and gubbins would naturally collect. There we are. Because you can't get your brushes into all of the areas in the depths so very easily. And that's what would happen is if you were cleaning property for yourself, isn't it? You would, you'd get your brush, your duster, and you'd pop it into the spaces where you could get your duster or your brush, and then have to leave it as it was. There we are. So those that now just looks far nicer. So I'm going to just use a little bit of gold wax on there, and I'm going to add a little bit of gold wax to the clock. It should sit on the top of there. Won't pop as much. There we are. But I don't want the rest of that. And then we're just going to add a little bit of dry brushing with some of that creamy acrylic. There we are, to these pieces. And again, just to help soften the overall effect. And you might, because I've added the wax underneath, you might just need to add, this in several layers, but to bring it out. So very little paint on that brush. Just swiping over the surface. Again, it's just another layer that's helping me to add some of the, bring out some of the details again in the moulds. But old neglected village, a bit like, some of the neglected chateaus that are existing, I think, possibly. There we are. Let's just do that. There we are. Let's just pop that over there, and that will help. So I've got some very old, very neglected buildings, but that was the look I was going for. So let's just clear that. We're going to lift some of this mess out of the way, and then I'm going to bring my project back in to here. But before I do that, I'm just going to give these a proper blast, dry, and I'm going to add some of the ice paste, the snow paste, to those trees. Yeah. Let's just get this all dry, because if I try and add stuff on top, it's all going to mix and merge, which isn't necessarily what I want to do at this point in time. That's better. Again, you can go back over and add more as you need to. In an ideal world, you'd let each layer dry really well before you go on to the next step. But that's life, isn't it? Right, snow paste, snow crystal. So snow crystal has white specks in it in a gel medium base, and which is lovely. So it looks a bit like this, but it will dry speckled, and all I'm going to do is pounce that on the tree so they look like they've got a dusting of snow. And the ice paste is glittery, so it has a roll, whereas the snow paste has white dots in it when it dries. So although it looks like it's all white at the moment, there we are. And you can add bigger blobs and smaller blobs, because that's the reality of that. There we are. So let's just have a little bit of a clear down of this mess and all of this gubbins out of the harm's way. That one, need that one. Need that. Don't need that. Let's just pop the bits we do need over here. Clear out the stuff that we don't need, and then we can add the next bits. Pop that over there. Pop that there for the moment. I won't need those two. And then I can get the project, and we can have a little quick recap. So that can go out of there, out of the way, and we will pick up our mountain village. Okay. So this has the snow paste on it, as do these, and you can see just how much less white it dries, but you've still definitely got white. So we're going to start by building our composition, and I've sort of got things where I want it to be, which is always good. I did have some heavy body gel, which is also all very cool. Let me just move that down, and I'm going to lift my camera up and over a little bit, I think. And we're going to struggle today, because that's typical, isn't it? No, I do apologise. We're definitely going to, there, maybe that, yeah, that will work. That will work. Okay. So I have some pieces from the Gear Up to Christmas ephemera pack, and I've got a textured background here with my painted trees. So just bear with. I'm going to get rid of the sticky plastic, the sticky bit off the back of here. It's reasonably flat, but I am going to reinforce the stickiness of this with some a little bit of glue. Let me just see if I can lift that off without sticking anything in my fingers. There we are. So I'm going to pop that into there. Lift that up, lift that up, lift that there. That one can go there, and this one can go here. As I say, I sort of know where I'm going with this, so do think about reinforcing with a bit of extra glue, because you do have a little bit of a texture. There we are. Okay. So I'm building my pattern. So my village looks like it's half in the trees, half out of the trees, and I've got my painted trees and mountains in the background. Okay. And I say I have set this up so that I sort of know where I'm going. It's always helpful, isn't it? There we are. So that can go there. And I sort of want my mountain scene to warp around the ponds that I've put at the bottom of here. Definitely not allowed before the retreat, Sarah. Would it be moderately disastrous? Would be moderately disastrous. So that piece is going to go there, onto there, tucked into there with the trees popping behind. So let's just pop these into here. And the joy of the course of the gel medium is that it's going to allow me to move things around slightly in a way that I might not be able to do if I didn't have this. So there we are. He's going to go into there. Right. Let's just take this piece. Let's just take some blobs of the heavy body gel. Don't want to splodge it every which way. There we are. We'll put that underneath there. Pop that there. Hopefully that will sit out. You could use clay, air dry clay, to fill in and reduce the amount of these you're using. So that tree is sitting behind, and that's going to sit on there. So my trees are behind there. And I want the clock in here underneath there. So that's the plan. So I just sat and played with this a little bit. I'm going to lift that up a little bit so it's in and behind. So let's just pop this piece in. So this is, again, is the ephemera from the Gear Up to Christmas collection. And if you're savvy with your pieces, then one piece, one pack of ephemera will last you quite a long time with what you're doing. So there we are. So let's pop that into there. There we are. There we are. Let's pop that out. So this was pre-painted, pre-prepared, but it's essentially done in exactly the same way as the last ones. I'm going to lift that up a little bit, pop that into there, and we're going to pop these into here. And I'm just going to fit, there we are. So we're going to pop, that needs just to come up a little bit higher. That's going to go there. And I want my lamppost to sit in here. So that's why I've done what I've done. So my pieces are being propped partly on top of each other and partly on top of those canvas stretchers. And they're just holding them in place. So that piece can sit in there. And that's going to go onto there. All is well. All is well in the world. There we are. Okay. So let's just take that one. Just need to remember quite where I put that. I had that one, but we'll work it out. And if we don't use it, we don't need to use it. So I love this silicone mold from this collection. I just think it's usable for every season. There we are. So let's just pop that into there so it can tuck itself up there. And then we can pop this house into there. Don't need anywhere near that amount of gubbins on there, so let's just pop that there, pop that there, pop that there. Excellent. Straighten that down. So I'm sort of arcing it around. It's not completely arced around, and that's absolutely fine. So we're just going to need to shuffle some of this lot into place. These are just important as supports for the whole piece, which is why we're popping them in, and then that house can sit on top of there. There we are. Okay, so let's just pop this tree, which is our next biggest piece. So I spent a lot of time playing with the layouts of all of these pieces, I have to say, until I got it so I was happy with where things were sitting. And because that is up, I can tuck that underneath, and I can now tuck that so it looks like it's sitting in front of that house and behind this one, but much, much taller than it actually is. So let's just take some of these and get these down, and then we'll have a little clean up, and then we'll add the ice paste and the snow paste and make it look really quite nice and wintry. There we are. So let's just pop that so it's down there. And we'll tuck this one in. I'm forgetting to put the glue on, and that'll be to my fault long term, because it'll be me that struggles with it long term when things start popping off because I haven't glued them down properly. But my bad. So we'll just stick a bit of glue onto that, and that can go there. Right, excellent. So I know that I want to add that tree there. I'm going to have that tree in there. So let's just put this bigger tree down in place first. There we are, around my pond. There we are, with those two poking their heads there. This is just some waste MDF from another project. So that piece can sit into there, and that house can then sit on there. And I'm going to tuck that tree into there to prop it all up on. Hey. Let's just cover that. There we are. So I'll sit that into there. So don't be afraid to take all of, thank you Blanche, to take all of your pieces and then just have fun layering your products and pieces. Now this is heavy body gel mat, and it dries milky. So I'm just now going to take out that excess that I've got, because it's actually for this project it probably isn't going to matter too hugely, because I have the there we are, because I've got the that there. Yeah, I'll have that there, because I'm going to be adding lots of snow paste anyway. So if you could have this as a summer scene by putting lots of florals on the bottom, but I'm wanting this to be a winter scene, and I've got flipping black and gold flakes everywhere. So I'm going to pick up my snow paste. So this is a gritty white paste, and I've got dark winter mountains. I have got some colour in them, but I'm just going to find a nice small palette knife. And that's the joy of having palette knives in 55,000 shapes and sizes. And we're just going to take a little bit of this and add some snow onto our mountains. There we are. Okay, so it's just going to sit in the same way that I did this with the, when I was painting. I put it on the line I wanted it. I don't want it to go right the way down. I want to maintain that definition and some of that colour variation, but I definitely want a bit of snow in on my on the mountains, but not going right into the bases of where we're going. So there we are, that's along there, so we can add that, and we can add a little bit into there, because there's another mountain that I put into there, but we've got some trees in front, and I'm going to swap to a brush for the tree areas. So I'm literally just adding that detail into here, and I'm slightly reducing the amount as I come a bit further down. There we are. But it's giving me some depth and some texture and reinforcing the fact that I've got snow-capped mountains, early winter, late winter. You know, but as I say, you could do something very similar for this project, but keep it as a summer project, because you can obviously have snow in the summer on your mountains, can't you? It doesn't have to be. Right, let's just take this fan brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit into these mountains that I've got here. So I'm wanting some bits on my trees because they're not going to be completely snow free. So that these are just the little bits, because the trees will have some snow on them, won't they? It doesn't have to be fully covered. And then we're going to cover or add some extra texture to the top, the roofs of these. So we're just going to add in, because if you've got that, you've got to have snow over lots of things, haven't it? Yeah, that's the reality. So I'm literally just using my stone paste almost like I would a paint, adding in just onto my hands. We'll have some on the tops of the thing. So I'm sort of dry brushing, but I'm not dry brushing, if that makes sense. I am definitely using a splodgy movement to get this, so that I've got my trees covered, but it wouldn't be a solid area in nature. There we are. So let's just come across here, and let's just add some snow onto the top of those houses. It's going to help disguise some of those edges along the way. So let's just add that onto there, that onto there, that onto there, and onto there. Okay, so let's just add some more snow onto our pieces as we go. There we are. Let's just straighten that up. So we're going to add a little bit more snow, a bit whiter, onto our pieces that have the snow crystal on. So we're mixing our textures. We're having a bit of sparkle, and we're having a bit of the snow coming in, and we're tucking it down into the details of our piece. There we are. And you could add thicker layers as you go. The choice is entirely up to you. Now at this point, I've got my pieces are definitely still a bit floaty. Okay, so I've definitely got a winter scene, but these pieces are definitely a bit floaty in the bottom, because of the depth I've added. So let's just pop in some splodges of glue. I'm going to use ordinary glue, could use gel medium, but we'll do that. And I'm just going to fill some of this gap along the bottom with to fill the areas where I've got height, because it doesn't look terribly nice with your houses aren't really meant to be floating, are they? So let's just pop that into there, pop that into there, pop that there, and then I've just got some natural moss to stick into here in my foreground. Yeah, so I'll pop that into there. Don't necessarily want that in there, but it's going to give me, fill that detail into here, and it's going to mean that my houses look grounded, if that makes sense, rather than floating, because they've got something to stand on, and it means my trees are no longer suspended in the air either. And the joy of natural moss is that you can get bags which have lots of different colours in. There we are. So let's just pop that onto there. Give that glue a little bit of a chance to set. So I've got my pond at the bottom and I want it to look icy. So this is the ice effect paste rather than the ice crystal. There we are. It's a brand new tube. Let me pop, I will need that. Now the ice effect paste has chunky glittery bits in it, but it definitely needs a bit of a stir. And I've chosen this rather than the, I can feel that all of the icy bits are in the bottom, sunk into the bottom of the gel medium. This pot's been sitting on its side probably for 2 years, but you can see that it's still usable. It always separates, even if it hadn't been around for sitting on my side untouched for a couple of years, it would still be okay to use. There we are. So it's got flaky bits and glittery bits in it. So you definitely need to give it a good mix to to disperse all of the chunkiness. There we are. It's all chunky and glittery in amongst the gel medium that has separated out over time, but it's cram packed. If you were trying to, if you took a glossy gel medium and then just tried to add your glitter and flakes to it, you would be using masses and masses of product to do that. So I'm now just going to add this into here. Doesn't matter if I get a bit of greenery in, because ultimately ponds won't be completely natural. They'll have bits, won't they, the way they've got it. And this will give it a little shine and a little shimmer when it dries, and will mute back that dark colour just a little bit. There we are. And it doesn't matter that I'm adding it in different degrees of thickness, because again, ice forms in thicker and thinner bits, doesn't it? Yeah, so let's pop that into there. We'll take that piece off there. That's a bit ugly. There we are. So we'll pop that into there. So we've got little holographic bits and some glitter and all sorts into there. And we now will have, once that is dry, we will definitely have a, put the correct lid on would help, or definitely have a wintry feel there. So the only thing that now that doesn't have a wintry feel, let me just push these bits in. Some of these will need a haircut, but I don't want to give it a haircut until it's dry. So we still, we've got a nice wintry mountain. I move that way. Yeah. Nice bright winter sky. We've got our houses nestled in. We've got our trees in the background that we painted. We've got our icy pond, and that will dry not as white as that. That will, the carrier of that will dry reasonably clear. And I'm just going to swap from that to the brush, and we're just going to add some clumps of snow. And that's definitely, this will be much easier if everything if everything has been set to dry, rather than me trying to do it when it's not completely set. So we're just going to add in, we don't need the whole thing covered. We can have bits of rock and stuff coming through, but we'll just add what we can into here. We'll have some bits along the shoreline. There we are. We've no longer got our pieces floating, but we've got some greenery and some things just showing through. There we are. So there we are. And our trees are all anchored in place. Let's just pop that into there. Stick it out the way. There we are. And you can add as much or as little of the snow paste as you want. But I just think it helps to anchor each of the pieces and the buildings, so they don't look as if they are literally just floating in in thin air, if that makes sense. I'm going to take just some little bits. Now with a palette knife you can just build up a bit more detail, so let's just add onto the rooftops a bit more of the snow. There we are. Let's just add a little bit more onto there. So the tapping with the back of your palette knife is quite an effective way of adding just that extra bit of detail into your pieces. There we are. Oops, she says, with a great big blob there. So we'll take that off in a minute and we'll thin that down and just put some more onto there. So the houses look as if they've had a reasonable recent dusting. Oops, we'll get rid of that. There we are. We can lift what we can off there. It's a bit more than I'd ideally like, but that's okay. I can cope with that. There we are. There we are. There. Okay. So, ladies, I think I am happy now. So I used my palette knife last week to paint the sky and my mountains. I've painted my resin pieces as it is. I've added lots of my snowy textures and pieces. It's a fairly dimensional piece. It's definitely not necessarily Christmas, but you could make it Christmas with a Christmas sentiment. I was aiming very much for more winter rather than overtly Christmas. We've got our little village with its light and a church and lots of different houses and the different shaped trees. And that is my completed piece. So thank you. I think it is a lovely project. It does take a bit of time. I'm not going to kid. Because of the way you paint with a palette knife, the paint takes a while to dry. So you do need to, take the time and just let it dry. But you've got the mountains with the texture, the snow caps, the village at the front, as if you're looking from afar at the piece, and you could add lots more detail if you wanted to. I kept my colors as I did because of the shapes of the I just want to add a little bit of that onto there, of the ephemera, which is why I chose the colors that I did. So ladies, please stay safe, look after each other, respond to people when they are on Facebook. I am not here next week, but I will be back the following week with a project that is definitely full on Christmas rather than winter. Watch my Facebook page, as I'm sure I'm going to be sharing lots of images from my trips down the various markets en route from Prague to Paris. And in the meantime, look after each other. Bye.